in this video I'm going to be showing you 4 different postpartum meals, 2 breakfast and 2 lunch/dinner options. And I was not able to find a really good video that I could actually compare or follow along on YouTube, so I just thought might as well just make my own. And I have been plant-based for 9 years already, especially throughout pregnancy, which has, in my opinion, helped me so much to stay healthy throughout these whole 9 months. I am now 38 weeks pregnant, so baby girl could be here at any time within the next few weeks. It could be tomorrow because she's already considered full term. I just want to make sure that I'm prepared for when that happens and have some pre-packed and pre-made meals before then. So the first meal I'm going to be doing is yogurt with oatmeal and nuts and berries, and then the other one would be breakfast sandwiches. I'm going to replicate like a McMuffin type of breakfast sandwich because I used to love those when I was a kid, when I was not vegan, and I do remember what they kind of tasted like. So I have created my own and they are super delicious, and you can just put them in the microwave and reheat them up for whenever you're ready to eat them. And then I'm also going to try my best to make homemade pho, Vietnamese pho, because it's one of my favorite meals. I know it's not gonna be the exact same flavor because I have never really tested and tried it to perfection, but I'm going to try my best, and I know that either way it's going to be very delicious and comforting because she is going to be born during the autumn time, so around that time it's going to be cold, hopefully, and you know, soups is like one of the most warming and delicious meals that you can eat, especially postpartum, for healing, because of all the spices that you include in the Vietnamese pho. The other thing I'm going to be doing is spaghetti with plant-based meat. I have made other videos where I show how to make that already, so I won't be including that as much in this video. You can go ahead and click on the link in the description box below where I show you how to make that specific pasta. But I'm very excited because this is something that I had been looking forward to doing. It's a lot of work, but meal prepping ahead of time is going to save you so much time, and you're going to be able to focus much more on what's more important, which is taking care of your baby and yourself after birth. So thank you guys so much for being here, and let's get started. The first breakfast recipe is sticky gingerbread granola. You're going to need coconut oil, agave syrup for this, or you can also use sugar in the raw, as well as ground ginger and spices like cardamom. You can also use cinnamon or pumpkin spice. Then to that you're going to be adding your oats and then your pecans or any nuts of your choice. Now here you see me adding about 1 cup of coconut oil, but this was way too much. You actually just need half a cup of oil, and then half a cup of agave syrup, and then after that I'm adding half a cup or 1/4 cup of molasses, my pecans, and then all of my spices together. There's really no specific measurements as to how many or how much to put of each item. You can't go wrong. It just depends how strong you like your gingerbread flavor, but make sure you add molasses in there and the ginger, of course, because without those 2 things you really can't get that gingerbread flavor. And then for the oats, I added about 2 cups of oats for this. Now once that's all combined, just give it a good mix and then transfer it to a sheet of parchment paper. For this day, I actually did not have any parchment paper, so I just used aluminum foil, but it's much better to use unbleached parchment paper because it's much healthier than tinfoil and even for the planet. And after leaving it in the oven for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, I just tossed it around every 10 minutes to make sure that every section and corner was evenly distributed. And then once I saw that it was getting on the toastier side, I took it out and then I let it cool. It came out very delicious and crunchy. I did go overboard with the coconut oil, as I mentioned, so just add half a cup instead of the full cup with 2 cups of oats. Just make sure that it fully cools down before transferring them to glass containers. I got this set from Amazon. I'll make sure to link it down below if you guys are interested in purchasing it. It comes with 15 different sizes. Next breakfast recipe is gingerbread oatmeal. You can also make some apple oatmeal if you'd like. Just throw in some peeled apples in there with cinnamon. But for this recipe, I am using soy milk. And I am adding the same spices as the granola, but the only difference is that this would just be soft oatmeal instead of crunchy granola. And this will be perfect for when fall time comes and for the colder days. Make sure you don't forget your molasses. That's a very key ingredient when it comes to the gingerbread flavor. Then after a few minutes, just give that a little taste test. I actually like my oatmeal to be sweet, so I just added a little bit more sweetener with the molasses and a little bit more agave syrup as well. I decided to go with oats for breakfast for postpartum recovery because it includes nutrient-dense foods that provides energy and supports healing. It's also a good source of fiber that will help you keep you full for a longer time, especially on busy days. Because this is going to be in the freezer, the yogurt comes last, so after you've microwaved it, you put the yogurt at the very end to keep it fresh. Now trust me when I say this, that I've tried all kinds of plant-based yogurts, and Siggi's coconut yogurt has been the best one so far. It's so thick and creamy the way yogurt should be, and it's not overwhelmingly sweet. I went ahead and decided to add my favorite chocolate chunk trail mix from Sprouts Farmers Market, as well as frozen cherries and blueberries. For the breakfast sandwiches, you need Canyon Bakehouse gluten-free bagels, the Beyond Breakfast sausage patties, as well as the pre-made folded just egg omelets, and the Violife vegan cheddar slices, but any vegan cheese will do. If you're not gluten sensitive, you could also just use any bagels for this. But the Canyon Bakehouse and the Char, if that's how you pronounce it, are the only two types of bagels that are both vegan and gluten-free. The sausage patties have 6 in total, and the cheese slices have even more in the packet, so you might want to get 2 of the bagels to make the most out of it. I only put the sausage patties and the omelet in the oven, as well as the cheese, for about 16 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I make sure to flip the sausage patties halfway through the time. You can keep an eye on it, but for sure you need to take out the omelets before the sausage patties and just turn off the oven and leave the sausage patties in there to fully cook all the way. The bread, you don't have to do anything to it. You just put everything together and you microwave it when you are ready to eat. Once the sausage patties are out, I really like to smother them in agave syrup, or if you have maple syrup, you can use that as well. I really like for it to be saturated in the sweetness because I like the resemblance of the sweet and salty flavors of the famous breakfast McGriddle from McDonald's. So this is just my healthier version and take on it. It's obviously a much healthier option, and it's ready to go for whenever you need it. Now for the Vietnamese pho, you're going to need fennel powder, coriander powder, as well as celery, green onions, carrot, broccoli, cilantro, and rice noodles, onion, ginger, garlic, crushed red pepper, black pepper, cinnamon, and ginger powder if you don't have any ginger on hand. You're going to start with a big pot and add some olive oil or whatever type of oil you'd like with the onion, ginger, and all of the fragrances in there. It's really important to let all of the scents and spices come together and just let it roast for a few minutes and get all of that toasted and cooked before adding your water. And I just added some liquid aminos, but you can also add some soy sauce in there or fish oil as well. But this is a plant-based version, so I'm just adding the liquid aminos. Now something you can also do instead of buying all of the spices is just buy the spice packet that comes pre-made. There's some Vietnamese stores that you can also try and see if they have some of those spice packets. They also sell them online on Amazon as well, but I just decided to invest in all of the spices myself. That way I can also use it for other dishes. But you could definitely just go with the spice bag. The recipe calls for a cane or a block of sugar, but I didn't have that, so I just added agave syrup and some salt. Now this is really a labor of love. After adding your water, you need to keep taste testing it and letting it simmer. I watched a YouTube video that said to let it simmer for at least an hour, but I actually think the more you leave it, the better it will taste. So if you can possibly leave it overnight, at least just the broth, that would be best. But in the meantime, I did want to go ahead and start prepping my veggies while I let it simmer for about 2 hours. I used carrots, celery. You can use whatever vegetables you like, but I just kept it simple. I just used about 3 or 4 ingredients for this. For the rice noodles, they actually go last, but here I am chopping up the cilantro. I've got the broccoli, the carrots, green onions. You can also use some cabbage in there as well, or shiitake mushrooms, which I really like shiitake mushrooms, which is very popular to add into Vietnamese pho. But I feel like over time, if I freeze it and reheat it again, the texture just won't be the same. And it kind of grosses me out, so I just decided to leave that out. But if you're going to make it fresh for the day, or if someone is cooking for you postpartum, you can definitely ask them to add shiitake mushrooms in there. I also love adding some chili oil, but I didn't have any, so I just added the red crushed pepper, and then I transferred it to the bigger glass containers to freeze. The next meal is a roasted vegetable dish. We're using very similar ingredients in terms of vegetables. So we have carrots, garlic, Brussels sprouts, sweet potato, and beets. You can also add garbanzo beans to this, which will help fill yourself up and add more fiber in there and plant-based protein. Now this is kind of like a side dish, but it does fill you up if you eat a lot of it, obviously. But you can make this with rice if you'd like. I mean, food can be as creative as you want it to be. You can serve this just as a side salad as well, but I just like eating this as a whole meal because I just feel like it's so full of flavor, especially when you add the salt, the pepper. I also would add some cayenne pepper to this, but my stomach has been a little bit irritated because of the heartburn during pregnancy, so I decided not to. And I also used some red crushed pepper as well, or even sriracha. You could do that too. With the garbanzo beans, especially when they come out really crunchy, they taste so good. Now this is the way it's supposed to look. I added about half a cup of water in there as well because I feel like just cooking it with oil just kind of dries it up. And this is how it comes out. It's so delicious. I baked this in the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I make sure to toss it around every 10 to 15 minutes. For the last meal, we have our chickpea pasta with plant-based meat. I have other videos that I'll link down below to go over the full details and step-by-step on how to make this, but what makes it taste so good is the curry sauce. It's a nice twist to the original pasta sauce and has a more mellow and savory taste to it. The spices in the sauce are so beneficial for inflammation and immunity to also keep you strong and healthy. I hope you guys had fun watching this video, and if you think you're gonna try one or many of these recipes, let me know which one you'd like to try.